Today, we're going to learn how to open our case properly and learn the parts of the clarinet. It's really important that we remember that we have to handle our case properly. The case is what helps protect our clarinet, and it holds all of our clarinet goodies. This particular case has a handle here and it has a backpack kind of strap thing happening here. Another feature of this particular case is that it has an extra little pouch to put reeds and other musical items. Everyone's case, depending on what brand you get, will look differently. This particular case that I have, I actually purchased separate from the clarinets that I have. When opening the case, it's extremely important that we make sure that we have it on the right side up, not upside down. If our case is upside down and we try to open it, our clarinet will spill out. We don't want that. Usually the logo of the case will be on the right side up. Now this particular case has zippers. Your case might have latches on there, and the latches have to pull upward. Some other cases have other special types of latches. In our lesson, we'll go over all of that. When I open the case, now that I know the logo's here, right side is up, I want to make sure that I carefully unzip my case. Once I do that, I can open the case, and here is my instrument. Let's go over the parts of the clarinet. This part here is called the bell. It's kind of shaped like a bell. This is the bottom part of the clarinet. Let's take a look at another part. How about right here? This is a funny looking thing. Wow, look at all those keys. This is called the lower joint. The lower joint is special because it has these really large keys on the left and on the right. But how you can tell which is the lower joint versus the upper joint is this thumb rest right here. All clarinets have a thumb rest, and that's how you know that's the lower joint. Next up is this piece right here. This we call the upper joint. The upper joint is a funny looking part because it has what I like to call the jelly bean keys. The register key, aka the string bean key, is also in the back. There's a lot of funny and cool looking keys that are in the upper joint. Next up, let's take a look at this. This is called a barrel because it's like the shape of a barrel. This connects to the upper joint. Last, but most certainly not least, is this guy right here. This is the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece has a couple of parts to it. The Darth Vader cap, technical term, mouthpiece cap. Right here, we have this thing. This holds the reed together. It's called a ligature. I like to sometimes call it a clamp. And this is our mouthpiece. This is where we connect the mouthpiece to the barrel, and it helps us play. Another part that we need, the reed. The reed goes on the mouthpiece. When we're finished playing, we put our instrument back in the case, we carefully close it, and then we have to remember to zip it back up. And there you go. That's the clarinet. We're going to be talking about some extra parts on the clarinet. Parts that you need in order to play, and other parts that are going to help you feel more comfortable playing. This little guy here is a thumb rest. And as you can see on my clarinet, I have a thumb rest on also. The thumb rest attaches here. When you get your clarinet, it'll probably look something like this. The thumb rest is going to help cushion the area, so when you put your thumb, it'll be more comfortable. And right here, it's like a little nub. There's a little opening here. There's many different types of brands, but I do recommend having a thumb rest. It'll make playing much more comfortable. Now these guys right here, these are reeds. I'm showing this to you so you have an example of knowing what kind of reeds. This is those orange box Rico reeds. This is the package that they come in. Look at the size right there, size 2, and it's for B-flat clarinet. This has 1 reed. Here's another brand that I recommend as well. This is by Van Doren. This is the classic blue box. And as you can see, there's the clarinet, B-flat clarinet, and there's the size. Reeds are important. Without the reed, we can't play. Another little piece that can help you out a lot is a mouthpiece patch. Now mouthpiece patches come in all shapes and sizes. It's really important that you get the one for clarinet. Now if you look here, this is a mouthpiece that I use, and this particular mouthpiece patch is clear and it's quite thin. This is what's comfortable for me right now. However, you might want one that's a little bit thicker. I recommend students get the thicker cushioned mouthpiece patches first. Here's an example of one. The mouthpiece patches, all you gotta do is stick it on here. We line it up on the back area of the mouthpiece. So here's the front of the mouthpiece and here's the back. And as you can see, I have here this clear one right here. So it's a little bit harder to see, but if you look carefully, you can see I have a patch on top of my mouthpiece. This helps make playing much easier. My top teeth have to touch the mouthpiece, so I really want that cushion. This is called cork grease. Cork grease is extremely important because we need it to put on the corks of our clarinet. This helps us assemble our instrument. When I take it out, kind of looks a little bit like chapstick, but it's not. Most cases will already come with a cork grease. However, I'm just letting you know that if yours doesn't, make sure you let me know because you will need this to assemble the clarinet. This item is a neck strap. Normally people think of saxophone when we say neck strap. However, clarinet players also use a neck strap if they need it. Using a neck strap is optional. Now, this sort of looks like a lanyard, except it's a little bit different. This has an elastic strap right here. This is the kind of neck strap that I recommend. It's easier for beginner players and it helps them hold the clarinet easier so they won't have so much stress on their hand. Usually when you get a neck strap, it'll come with maybe a little felt part so we can connect it to the clarinet. Or your clarinet might have a hook and it just connects right here. Having a neck strap is optional, but it might be a really good idea to start off with in the beginning. This is a swab. A swab is important because a swab helps us clean our instrument when we're finished. The best kinds of swabs have a larger kind of cloth. This is a type of silk cloth. This helps clean the instrument, and essentially the way it works is we have this weight and we drop the weight down and then we pull it through the clarinet. Sometimes a swab is called a pull-through. These are an example of a reed case. These reed cases, some of them come in 4s, so that means that you could put a total of 4 reeds in here. Sometimes we'll have the case that has just 2-sided. This is optional, but it really is nice to have the reeds in a case like this instead of the casing that it comes with.